Hi, this is Yuyup or Aaron, and this is a game I've been working on. And if you want to skip to the technical aspects and how I challenge those and how I solve these problems, you can skip to a timestamp I have below. Or if you want to skip to the gameplay part only, then you can also skip to the gameplay part as well, where I explain the gameplay and how what gameplay features I have involved. Or if you want to if you want to listen to my intro, then you can listen to me right now. So thank you for joining. But essentially, this is a golf game I'm working on, and the reason why I worked on this was because this was actually one of my first ever projects I've ever worked. What do you call it? When I was making video games, when I got into video game development, and what better way to show how much I improved across 6 co-op terms and 5 different companies than to actually revisit it and revisit a similar proof of concept or the same proof of concept as 4 years ago and make it, because I think it's genuinely a good idea. The actual video game itself, by the way. So this is what I had 4 years ago. I'll quickly show. You can see that it's improved quite a bit. I know obviously it's recorded at 480p and everything, and I even didn't even have OBS back then. I used Screencast-O-Matic, which is a free recording software. But you can see I've improved quite a bit, I think, in my opinion. Not to obviously say anything like that, but you can see that this is what I had before, and it was built in Unreal Engine 4. Yeah, it's funny actually just looking at it, and I think seeing obviously what's on the right and what's on the left, right? So obviously on the right, you can see this a little bit more polished and a little more looking like a video game now that's actually shippable. But what makes this game unique, different from other sliding puzzles or different golf games, is that it's actually also a sliding puzzle. And by sliding puzzle, I actually mean this. If you ever played these as a child, you can slide these essentially tiles to the empty spot, and you're supposed to make it so that it's aligned, or you're supposed to make it so that I think it makes a picture, like these ones. I basically was inspired by that and combined these golfs with sliding puzzles. So obviously it behaves like a golf game. I'll show a little bit of gameplay here just to show you something moving on the screen. But yeah, you can slide these things, you move these things, and you can also obviously slide these tiles. Obviously you can't move the diagonal one because there's nothing to slide to. You can slide these tiles just free, and it works just like a golf game. Now moving on to the technical aspects of this game, there are two challenges to this game, which is one, how do you design the levels efficiently, right? Because, right, let's say this is the level definition. If I had to go through every single tile, obviously there's only 4 tiles, so it might look simple, but like this is a 5x5. There are 25 tiles, right? Imagine I had to go through in each and every single one and design just like the floor type for each one and select the structure type for each one and just test it every single time to make sure it works. Imagine I had to do that. It would be a nightmare to design. And just imagine if I was a designer, I would have a struggle all the time, right, to basically design this. So what you do is you create this tile editor, accessible by just clicking the tile editor here. What you do is you can just click the level you want. I'll click level 1 because this is just the level I have, and you can see that initially this is what it looks like. But let's say I'm a designer and says, okay, I don't want a round corner, grass corner. I want a sand corner, right? I want a sand round corner that is 90 degrees instead of 180 degrees for some reason. All you have to do is click round corner, sand, and 90 degrees. Click it, save it, and if I go to play again, you can see as it loads, the game would have changed. I actually misclicked again. But you can see that the tiles have changed. So it's extremely easy plug and play for editors or designers to come in and say, you know, I want to design these levels. All you have to do is just use this editor instead of going through a nightmare of changing each array elements of these things and just making sure that this works, right? It's extremely easy to use. All you have to do, there's only 3 rules, which is there needs to be at least 1 whole tile, there needs to be at least start tile, and there needs to be at least 1 empty tile. So obviously the slide element works. These rules are enforced, so if you try to actually do 2 starts or something, the game actually won't work, and it actually won't spawn the board. And I think I'll just show you just quickly right now. Yeah, you can see it spawns no tiles, right? So it also prevents what do you call it? It prevents designers from making invalid entries and what do you call it, creating a puzzle by accident and what do you call, confusing the players. So that's one technical aspect I had to go through. Another aspect that I had to implement was if you noticed that there are different floor types, right? And there are different structures. So imagine you had to create different models for these structures. It would be a nightmare, right? Like there are 45 models I have so far, different tiles. And imagine I had to create one for the sand. If I had to create one for grass, I had to create one for ice, right? And there are always more to be added on, like rough, right? There are different tiles that be added on. And imagine I had to do these things, or speed boost tiles, right? Then imagine I had to add all these things and have different models just for each one. It would be a nightmare to manage because these are 40 tiles, and imagine I have like 6 floor types. That would be 240 different models I have to import into the project and ship into the game. That would be a nightmare. So what I did instead is make this tile UV remapper. And what this does is basically this detects the walls. This detects the walls of in the tiles and says, okay, don't modify that, but only modify the floor, so that depending on what tile type it is, if it's a sand type, if it's an ice type, I'll color it differently. And that's how I essentially do it. And so it saves a lot of space in terms of, and computing time as well, space when making this, so that you don't have to import every single type of model. And imagine you're a designer and something was wrong with a ramp model. You don't have to actually go through every single ramp model in the game, like a sand ramp, a grass ramp, whatever, to edit and fix these things. You can just go to the ramp and fix it, right? So it makes it very, very easy for designers and editors or 3D modelers to come and edit this out. So that's the technical aspects I had to face, and there are obviously other challenges as well. Obviously, for camera, like how am I going to do the camera? Well, like because the camera has to be positioned differently per type of game. Because already, as you can see in the level data, it's not just 2x2 grids. It's 2x2 to 2x5 to 5x5. So for each different things, you need a new camera position. So you'll see in the gameplay that depending on the size of the board, the camera will actually be positioned slightly differently so that it fits the board. And it's not just stationary, and it actually uses these camera positions specified. This is also a part stroke amount. And so, yeah, this is the technical aspects. I can go on forever, honestly, about all the technical aspects I had to implement. But I'll leave it over to my future me, and into the gameplay. Thank you. So I'll now move on to explaining the gameplay. So this is the main menu of the game. It looks like there are quite a lot of levels, but there are actually only 3 levels I will show you because I'm still in the progress of designing other levels. But this is the first level, the main menu. Yeah, you can just scroll and select. You can imagine that if there are more levels, you can go and select them. This is the first level I'll show you. It's a basic level, right? It just tries to teach you what the game looks like and what the game is. You've been kind of spoiled it in the first part, right? Because I did temper with this just to show you how the tile level editor worked. But you can see this, yeah, just play it. You can imagine you can get a hole in one if, what do you call it? If you put the, if you charge it high enough and it just bounces off the wall. Wow, okay, that is terrible. But you can see on the bottom left, part 2, there's a timer on the bottom, center right, and then center, and then the move count. So that goes up. You can see on the bottom right, each side I go. There's a pause menu. There are also slightly lack of sprites. You can see that there are quite a lot of placeholder sprites. Even the slider doesn't fill up correctly, but that's because I'm lacking in sprites, not because I don't know how to program them. But you can see, I think it's also kind of cool though. Still, it's like the pause menu like slides up. You can see it like slide up, and the opacity changes, so it brings your attention. I think it's really, really, really cool. There's also music, sound effects and music as well. I'll increase the audio for now. But I'll actually play without audio, because if I play with audio and I let my phone, play the audio while I play the game, I'll play it record, it actually drowns out my voice. It's a weird bug that Android's screen recorder has, but it is, so what it is. And this one is actually a restart button, and I'll actually show that at the end, because the last level I'll show you, I will be able to move around quite a bit and show it nicer, right? So, because restart level, I think needs to show that it restarts everything, right? So, but I'll finish this level and move on before it gets too boring. But you can see in the summary, time elapsed 1 minute 21 seconds, strokes 7 out of 2, pretty terrible. But in the second level, it basically, this is the first level where you have to actually move stuff. So naturally, you know, if you try to hit it, nothing happens, right? And you know, the ball falls into the abyss and it respawns. So what you have to do is move. And this is where the puzzle part comes in, because there are actually two ways of solving this, where one way actually saves you a move and gives you a birdie instead of a par. Sorry, I'm not too familiar with, I don't play golf, so not much at least. So this is one way of doing it, where it gives you 4 moves if you can get it in the hole first time, if you don't overpower it, like me. But that's 4 moves. I wasted a move, and obviously wasted a move by showing you fall off. In fact, oops, I clicked the third one by accident and spoiled you the next level. But there's another way of doing this, right? By sliding like this and getting it in the hole. And this actually only takes 3 moves and gives you a birdie. So you can see where the puzzle part really comes in, right? You can see in the future levels where if you design it right, you can get birdies or pars or albatrosses, depending, or eagles, depending on how you do, how you set the game up, and how you slide the puzzles. The third level is interesting for 2 parts. It's because, one, there are now different types of tiles. It's not just grass tile, it's ice tile and sand tile. And also because you actually have to move after you strike the ball. So it adds another layer and gives you users another possibility to think about when solving these type of puzzles. So you might think, okay, let's just go through the sand tile. But guess what? It increases a lot of friction, and even if I do basically max power, and you can see the gradation on the slider as well as it increases. It's like yellow, green only, yellow, red, as I increase the power. But even if I do max power, it barely travels, right? It doesn't travel that much, and you can try to negate it, but it's really, really hard, and it takes about 5 moves essentially to reach the hole, right? 6 because I actually wasted a stroke, but actually 7 now. But yeah, 7 tiles, but that's ridiculous, right? So what you do is you essentially stroke it first to the ice tile, which actually reduces friction and makes the ball travel faster, which is great, right? If you want to get to the destination with lesser strokes. So you can slide obviously multiple tiles as well. It doesn't have to be one tile you move. It can be multiple tiles. You can see it's multiple tiles you can move, but because it's the ice tile, you can only have to do around maybe about this much, and you can see it travels much nicer, much faster, and get to the hole. And yay, we did it in technically 3 strokes. I used 2 strokes just to show you that you can move multiple tiles at once. But yeah, that's the 3 levels I have. But before obviously I go, I will show you that you can restart levels. So if I move this around, hit the ball, you can say I messed up, I want to restart the level. Just click restart, and bam, you have the restart. Next, this level I actually just to show you that this is a work in progress. This is a test level. It shows you not all the tiles, but most of the tiles I implemented. You can see there's a gap tile, there's a ram tile, this one right here. There's a narrow tile that you see, and there's a round corner, there's a gap. Yeah, there's different types of tiles and different types of floors that I'll add on and work on later. But this is essentially what the gameplay is, and thank you for watching for now.